All right, all right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. This is Louis George Walker coming to you on this fantastic Monday afternoon. It's been a beautiful day outside. This is the BFTAA and More Show. I am your host. You are listening to KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom Radio right here in Kansas City, Missouri. Glad that you tuned in. We're going to have a great program today. Everything's seems to be working a lot better. I say that before I check my volume going out and I don't see it, which is always a good thing. Just a second. Okay. We got a mic, we got that. I think that we are starting to see something. But anyway, we'll check on the radio feed of this later. We'll continue to work with the show on Facebook and YouTube. For all of you that don't know, the KUAW Radio, if you're just picking this up for the first time, is a broadcast project of the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center and the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. We came together to form this radio station about 5 years ago. Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, KUAW are our letters. And we're glad to have you here. Our goal is to spread knowledge and understanding. Our goal is also to give you some community information. STEM is our main focus, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, as we want to get our young people to start looking at careers in STEM fields. But we come to you with a little bit of everything. We also like to bring you a lot from the world of NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, because they are one of the premier STEM development or research and development projects or organizations within the United States government. You do have DARPA, the Defense Department, that work on a lot of advancement too, but NASA does a lot of the work that goes into developing a lot of the science and technologies that we have right now. Although we use the internet, which the internet, if you didn't know it, was a project that started as something funded by the Defense Department, because they mainly wanted to come up with a communication system that was resilient, that could stand nuclear attack and still be a robust non-centralized communication channel. The internet is that, and that is part of what we use now for a lot of our communications. So, with that being said, we'd like to tell you that you're here. We've got a great show today. We're going to start it off with one of the things that we love to do here is to tell you what's going on this week at NASA. So, without any further ado, I think I will go to my NASA setup, if I can find it here, and we will see what's happening this week at NASA.
A new Earth-observing mission launches to space, a move to make more room aboard the space station, and some valuable space station science returns to Earth. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA.
And liftoff. Liftoff of an Atlas V rocket and Landsat 9.
On September 27th, our Landsat 9 satellite launched from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. This joint mission with a U.S. Geological Survey will capture images of Earth from space that will be added to the nearly 50 years of freely available Landsat data researchers and officials use to monitor the health of Earth and manage essential resources. Learn more at nasa.gov/Landsat9. On September 28th, aboard the International Space Station, 3 crew members, including our Mark Vande Hei, relocated their Soyuz spacecraft from the station's Rosvet module to the brand new Nauka multipurpose laboratory module. It is the first time a spacecraft has docked to Nauka. The move also frees up Rosvet for the October 5th arrival of another Soyuz spacecraft. A SpaceX Dragon cargo resupply spacecraft left the space station on September 30th to return more than 4,600 pounds of supplies and valuable science to Earth. The experiments include research on neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, a study that could help treat muscle atrophy in elderly people on Earth, and more. This was SpaceX's 23rd commercial resupply services mission for NASA. On September 30th, engineers at our Stennis Space Center conducted a hot fire test of an RS-25 engine on the center's A1 test stand. This was the 7th and final planned test of the current test series to support development and production of the engine for our Space Launch System rocket. 4 RS-25s will help power the SLS on future moon missions, including Artemis 1 targeted for later this year. For more details, visit nasa.gov/SLS. For the next few weeks, we will be mostly incommunicado with our fleet of spacecraft on and around Mars. This communications timeout happens about every 2 years during Mars solar conjunction, when Earth and Mars are on opposite sides of the Sun and can't see each other. Sending radio signal commands to spacecraft during this time is risky because solar activity can corrupt those commands and cause unexpected behavior. Researchers using data from our Hubble Space Telescope have determined that the wind speeds just inside the boundary of Jupiter's Great Red Spot are accelerating. Their research shows that the average wind speed in this region of the storm increased by up to 8% from 2009 to 2020. The massive storm spins counterclockwise at more than 400 miles per hour, and the vortex is bigger than Earth itself. NASA has transferred findings from the agency's Airspace Technology Demonstration 2 or ATD-2 project to the Federal Aviation Administration for nationwide implementation. Over the past 6 years, the project demonstrated this suite of airport operations tools at several U.S. airports to save fuel, reduce carbon emissions, and increase information sharing between the FAA and industry. Find out more at nasa.gov/aeronautics. On September 30th, our Armstrong Flight Research Center marked its 75th year of innovation, milestones, and discoveries. In its early history, the center helped achieve the first supersonic flight. Today, Armstrong continues its groundbreaking aeronautics research, as well as work in space transportation and in many Earth and space science missions. Check out go.nasa.gov/Armstrong75 for more about Armstrong's 75th anniversary. That's what's up this week at NASA. For more on these and other stories, follow us on the web at nasa.gov/Twan.
All right. Yeah, that's what's going on at NASA this week at NASA. Seemed like some fantastic things from seeing how we can't talk to the satellite or any of the things that are on Mars right now. But some of the resupply missions, I mean, what they're doing with that International Space Station now is fantastic because they seem to be constantly adding on to it. It's getting larger. They're able to do more with it. Eventually, we'll learn enough that we're going to be able to make a space station that will be able to house many more people than we have on there right now. So I think that is great. And as they say, they want to use it as a stepping stone to the moon, and then use the moon as a stepping stone toward Mars. So we have to take each step a little at a time. But as we get back to Mars or get back to the moon, and we will have an African American right now that is scheduled to be the first female, African American female to touch down on the moon, to actually land on the moon. So that's something that's going to come up, I think, in 2023 was the latest we saw on that. But, you know, there's a lot going on in space. It's exciting, and there's a lot of growth in the space industries right now because you've got Virgin Galactic, and you've got Orion, or was that the Dragon ship? I forget the Jeff Bezos's spacecraft, but we got 2 or 3 different companies that are competing, putting objects into space or traveling into space with people along with NASA, so that pretty soon the I won't say it's getting crowded, but it will become more commonplace to hear of something going on in space, and maybe even to hear of things happening on the moon, that there'll be a permanent base there that you'll always be hearing. It won't be great news. It'll be just, what are they doing on the moon right now? What are they looking at? What have they found? What is going on? So we look forward to that happening. But before we go on into any more of our STEM, which I say again is the science, technology, engineering, and math thing that we are big with. One thing I wanted to talk about that's happened in Kansas City this weekend that I think we really have to look at and try to get our arms around it is that we had a couple of mass shootings, where there were 3 victims at both. One, I know there's been 1 death, but not haven't heard on the others. But 3 people were shot. I believe it was Friday, and then 3 more yesterday. I heard on the news, that there was 3 shootings. Both of them were 2 men and a woman getting shot. I don't think that they were at all related and stuff, and that's not really the point of it. The point is we've got to get our arms around the violence that goes on in the community. The people that want to use violence as a last resort or as a first resort of solving any kind of problems going on. One happened at a bowling alley, and I don't know if it happened in the bowling alley. They didn't know if it was just out in the parking lot, but they found the people in the parking lot. And it was, what do we know about it? Not much, but the fact that there are people that are getting shot, people are getting killed, and it doesn't seem to be linked to any big trouble. Some, arguments, some kind of confrontations come on, but 6 shootings that were mass shootings. I mean, six people that were killed in 2 separate mass shootings, or that were injured in 2 separate mass shootings, is a lot to have happen in a weekend. We don't even know what happened as far as 1 or 2 shootings somewhere. But there's way too much violence, and I don't blame it all on guns, because it's a lot more guns than that out there. I blame a lot of it on people, that we've got to find better ways of dealing with each other, of solving differences, of talking to each other, not to resort to something that is so final, so permanent as to shoot to kill someone. So that's something that was on me. It's just been on me today to think about it, and had another thing that we went talking about mental health. And I think mental health has a lot to do with that, because a lot of us are walking around suffering from what they call it, PSD. We've been traumatized, and in this community we've been traumatized, and I don't know that the mental health of our community is where it should be. I think there is a lot that we should do to lift up each other and to help each other, but I think a lot of it is going to take some professional work to get it done. I mean, we've got a problem in this country. We've got a problem in this city, especially. So we need to look at that. It's something that I think you all should think about. We all should think about is the psyche of people, where we think that violence is a readily used answer, and that gun violence on top of that is a readily used answer. We had some ladies on last night talking about domestic violence and that domestic violence survivors and what goes on there. But, I also want to talk about these gun shooting victims, because that is another epidemic that's going on. There is so much violence that we really got to think about that. We really got to start working on that, not really just thinking about it, but to see if we can come up to some solutions of the violence that is going on in the community. I know there are a lot of ideas. I don't think that there is one single solution or one thing that we'll do that's going to fix everything. I think it's going to take a lot of things, a lot of steps to work on what's going on with the community of violence. And we are in a community of violence. And I'm not just talking about in the heart of the city. I'm talking about in the suburbs. I'm talking about in the core of the city. I'm talking about, just everywhere. Because violence is everywhere. And if it hasn't gotten into your neighborhood yet, as long as it's, as Gil Scott was saying, they can walk in your living room as long as it's around your home. And our home is here in Kansas City. So if the violence is here at any time, it may walk in our living room. We've got to find out how we can work on this, how we can get together to talk about solutions, and then to work and implement solutions that can help us with this, because it's just too much violence going on in the city. So it's a short bit. I hadn't did any research on it. It was something that was on my mind from what I saw on the news today and this weekend. I had to say something about it, because it just tears me up that we have that. And I think that, as I said earlier, I think that we've got some mental illness problems in this city. And I'm not saying that people are walking around crazy. I'm just saying that they're in a state that makes this violence more prone to happen. So we need to look at that. We need to see what we can do about it. Yeah, thank you for that bit. I hate to go off on a tangent there, but we have to do that. Also like to bring you up to date. Been working last week on the moving the KUAW studios and the BFTAA offices that are located in the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center to a new part of the building. We've got the rooms. My wife and I were down there last week, and we had help from a couple other people. We want to thank Jackie for stopping by. Roz has been by, so we appreciate those. Chris, we appreciate the help that you've given to us. And I want to reach out to all the other members and volunteers of BFTAA to let you know we're down there working on this move. We'll be down there tomorrow and Wednesday in the daytime. We're going to be working from noon until about 4 o'clock, noon to 4 o'clock, Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday, we'll be down Thursday evening from 4 till about 7 or 8. So we'll start at 4 o'clock and we'll start cleaning up about 7. So we'll be down there between 4 and 8 on Thursday. And Saturday, we're there from 12 until 4 o'clock. So we'd like to say, anybody that would like to help with the moving of the equipment, with painting the rooms, with cleaning the rooms up, we invite you to come and join us. We're at 4510 East Linwood Boulevard in the former Milton Moore Elementary School. It is now the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center. If you'd like to help out, let us know. We can use all hands on deck right now. So if you can come down tomorrow or Wednesday from noon to 4 o'clock at the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center, and then Thursday evening, for those of you that work in the daytime, you can come down between 4 and 8 and help out. And then Saturday from noon until 4 o'clock. So we can use that help. We got one room, it's partially painted. I think we're going to finish painting that. Mildred's done a great job on painting there. So I think that room will get completed this week for sure. And then we've done the floors in the new studio room. I'm going to look to see what paint. We're going to do some green background so that we'll have things for our video shots, but we're going to do some other color in the room also. So if you want to come down and check it out, be sure and check with us. We'll be down there tomorrow. I'll be looking for you to come help out. We're going to be moving equipment. Probably if by the end of the week or Saturday, we should be in a state where we can start moving some of the equipment down, getting a look at how the new office is going to set up. So we'll start doing that no later than Saturday. We may get some of the equipment moved Thursday, but it's moving forward. It's going to be looking good, and we want to make a good impression on everybody that comes into KUAW Radio that our studio is going to be fantastic. So that work is going. It's moving along great. And we're glad for all the support that we've been getting from the community. And we want you to keep giving us support. If you can't help out physically, if you can't come down, you can make a donation. If you go to our webpage, www.bftaa.org, O-R-G, or to www.kuaw.org, O-R-G. So if you go to either one of those, bftaa.org or KUAW.org, there's a donate button on there, and you can make a donation via our PayPal link. You can put on there that it's for the new studio renovations, for the office move, any of that, to let us know where you want your funds used, or you can just say you're donating in general. But if you make a donation of $1, $5, $10, $20, we would appreciate it. If you can give 50 or 100 or more, we would appreciate that also. All of it goes to help work in the community. We're working on getting our robotics program back off the ground after this pandemic. So one of the rooms that we're refurbishing also is the Lego room, or which was our Lego room, is now our Vex robotics room, but we're going to do the floors in it, get it set up so that it is ready for kids to come in. And we've also established with some of our parents, we're not going to have as big a class as we've had before because we want to be COVID sensitive and have a COVID protocol, that we will only have so many kids in the room. It's not a large room, so we don't want to have people too crowded up on each other. So there's only going to be 4 to 6 students in this first robotics comeback. As the year ends, as we go into the new year, depending upon how the COVID restrictions change, we may increase that number, but we're going to keep the number small right now. But we're still going to be intense in getting these kids engaged and working and building robots. So that's the thing that we really love and like to do. So we're going to be doing that very soon. So thank you. And part of what I wanted to say in that is I was looking at an article, and this is from E-Education, Mr. John Wheeler, and he was talking about why STEM literacy is critical to our students. And that is an important thing, being STEM literate, science, technology, and engineering. So it's not that you're going to be a master in all this, but you should be able to understand some of it. And it says developing students' STEM literacy provides students with the critical skills they will use later in life. Providing an engaging and equitable STEM education is an important step in helping to develop more scientists and engineers while increasing race and gender diversity in the field, both of which are much needed in today's world. Education in STEM can also help develop a STEM literate citizenry. So we do need to be more STEM literate, just on a whole. Everybody, even those of you that aren't in school right now, need to become more STEM literate. While there are many nuanced definitions for STEM literacy, and that, we've got a lot of different STEM acronyms, the basis is that STEM literate individuals are able to apply STEM concepts to identify, understand, and solve problems in the world around them, whether or not these problems are scientific in nature. STEM literate individuals are able to think in a scientific-minded way about issues that impact their life and the community as a whole. That's one of the things that's very important about our robotics program. We're not just teaching kids to build robots, and to be in the competition. That's probably one of the last things there. The thing that we're teaching kids about is to be scientific thinking, to be team builders, to work as teams. We provide mentorship so that they can see a pathway where they can go. There's a lot of things that they're going to learn that have nothing to do with a robot, but have a lot to do with living life. And that's in almost every STEM field, that the things that you learn in learning about STEM in science, technology, engineering, and math is not just, what you learn on paper, but it's the things that are teaching you how to think, how to be problem solvers. When we work on the robots, one of the big things they have is solving the problem. How do we make this thing do what it's supposed to do? And they have to think about it. You have to look at the problem. You have to decide exactly what the problem is and how you're going to get your robot, when it's finished, to be able to work in that, solving that problem. So those are things that they learn in working with our robotics program. That's what they learn in a lot of STEM programs, and especially in a lot of after-school programs that's outside of the regular science class, but it's still science. So out-of-school science is an important part of STEM. There's a lot that goes on in the classroom, but there's a lot more that goes on outside of the classroom. And that's what we do. As educators helping students understand the importance and benefits of STEM literacy and how science impacts so many facets of their everyday lives, it is an important responsibility. And we've got people that are really dedicated in working with our young people, and that's good. COVID-19 is a glaring example of something that impacts everyone's day-to-day life. With so much anecdotal information and misinformation about the virus, it is also a prime example of the need for STEM literacy and offers a good STEM-focused learning opportunity for students. There's so much that they talk about with COVID that You don't know what's true, what's not. You need to learn how to research, how to check out, and how to back up the things that have been told to you. There's a lot of misinformation about it. So you need to find out how to find the right information or the good information about it. So having a knowledge base on the science behind the virus and viruses in general is critical, as it helps students and adults understand what exactly the virus is, how it transmits, and how it can be stopped. This understanding also helps eliminate bias or opinion when talking about the virus, as conversation is grounded in scientific fact. Offering opportunities to learn about this prevalent topic and to gather and analyze science-backed information will in turn help students make more informed personal decisions when it comes to hygiene, wearing a mask, and getting vaccinated. Yeah, we need to know. We need to know. We need to know what it is, what it isn't. There's a lot of people that will talk for or against masks, for or against vaccinations, for or against the virus even existing. So you need to be able to discern the truth. You need to have that scientific background. You need to know, what is a virus? How does a virus work? How does it replicate? What's its where's it come from? What's its normal function in our world, in our life, and how did it get to be what it is? Because there are a lot of viruses around. This isn't the first deadly virus. If you read history, and some people have been talking about on shows, there was a flu pandemic in 1918, I believe, to 1920, a couple of years of it, that we just passed as many dead in the United States as we get to 700,000, but it killed hundreds of thousands. It was the same thing going on. It was a flu. Now, have we gotten rid of the flu virus? No, we have not. Are we better able to live with it, to treat it, to work with it as it shows up in our day-to-day lives now? Yes, we are. And the COVID virus is going to probably be the same way. We won't eliminate the COVID virus. There's a good chance that it's never going to go anywhere. But just like the flu, we don't lose 600,000 people to the flu anymore. We did when it first hit, but we don't anymore. And there are vaccines that are available every year. And a lot of people use and take those vaccines. And there are a lot of different treatments after you get the flu that help. There's still people dying from the flu every year, but they're not dying in the numbers and being hospitalized in the numbers that they were when the flu first arrived. So the COVID is not a new virus. I mean, it's a new virus, but it's not a new, the pandemic is not the first pandemic, or this isn't the only time this has happened. Only in our lifetime, maybe, but it's not the only time that it has happened. So, that's something to know, is that we've got the past history that we should learn about, so that it helps us with the current history. There were vaccinations that were developed from that. There are vaccinations being developed now. There were masks that were being asked to be worn then. There's masks trying to be worn now. So a lot of similarities exist. So whether it's teaching about the pandemic, global warming, or another present day issue, students learn best when they are able to make real world connections, providing ongoing tech-enabled opportunities for students to research topics, participate in fact-finding, and engage in critical thinking in classroom discussion helps students better understand what they are learning, all while building their STEM literacy. And they're preparing for college and careers. Yeah, developing student STEM literacy not only impacts public health and environmental issues, but it also provides students with the skills they will utilize later in life, such as problem solving, working in groups, effectively communicating information, and more. All of these skills, which can be cultivated through ongoing STEM learning opportunities, will set students up for success in college and in their careers, regardless of if those careers are in the STEM fields or not. So what they can learn by learning about STEM, by being in STEM programs in school and after school. Find those programs around the community. There are STEM programs in the Black community, in the Hispanic community, in the overall community that your kids can get involved in, that you can work with your children on. that you can get involved in, because there's STEM programs for adults that we can all learn and become better at it. And it can help you regardless if it's your job or if your life, you say, I don't use that stuff day to day, but you do think every day. You do have to solve problems every day. You do have to communicate with other people every day. So those are the things that can be improved by STEM literacy. Now, the National Science Teaching Association further underscores this notion and the importance of STEM literacy, stating, a STEM literate populace and workforce is necessary to sustain the U.S. competitive advantage in the age of globalization, not only as researchers, doctors, and engineers, but also as a hugely technical force that can help secure health and safety, revitalize our utility infrastructure, monitor our food production, and improve our manufacturing efficiencies and capability. Those are all things that we need to be working on. Finding ways to make STEM learning an embedded everyday part of the learning experience across curricula. So whether you're in English class or whatever, and areas beyond just dedicated lab time will help students start to think in scientifically minded way, apply science concepts to other facets of their lives, and to develop the critical life skills. It will additionally help capture the imagination and interest of a larger, more diverse group of students wanting to pursue careers in science and engineering, which will benefit us all. So this is an article from a man, Mr. John Wheeler, about STEM literacy. There's going to be more articles. I want to bring you that information so that we start thinking about that, because it's not just to say you want everybody to be a nerd. No, but we need to be literate in a lot of the science and technology and our math. I mean, you need to know your finances. You need to know mathematics for your banking. For those of you that are investing in cryptocurrencies and running the stock market and stuff, hey, you need to know some math. You need to figure out what they're talking about with these points. If you get ready to buy a house, you need to know how to calculate some of the interest rates and things that you'll be looking at. So there are things that we use STEM in our everyday life all the time. So, let's get off of the sidelines and let's get involved. Let's get our kids, our families involved. As I say, our robotics program starting up. If you want to get your child involved in a good VEX robotics program or a Lego, contact the Black Family Technology Awareness Association right here in Kansas City, Missouri. You can email us at BFTAA, that's BFTAA, at sbcglobal.net. So you can contact us there. You can also reach us on Facebook, YouTube. You can leave a message in the Facebook chat. Just get in touch with us any way you can. You can mail us if you want to. It's Post Office Box 300-166, Kansas City, Missouri 64130. So mail it to BFTAA. Any questions that you have, BFTAA at Post Office Box 300-166, Kansas City, Missouri 64130. You can reach us also at the WEB Du Bois Learning Center. Address your letter to BFTAA, 4510 East Linwood Boulevard, Kansas City, Missouri 64128. So you can get in touch with us a lot of different ways. We'd love to talk to you. We love to get information from you. If you have information about a STEM program that's exciting and that you'd like to tell the community about, the world about, get in touch with us right here at KUAW Radio. We'll see if we can get an interview set up with you, or just send us the information or a flyer of your STEM event going on, and we will post it and talk about it and try and get more people out to it. Because we're about getting STEM in the community, and we don't care how many different facets we use. It doesn't all have to come through the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. We're just a little small, tiny, tiny piece of the STEM organizations in Kansas City, and there are a lot of great organizations doing great things. We're doing the great things that we can do in our community. So get in touch. If you want to help, we'd love to have you. But yeah, get in touch. These computers are great things. They're fun. We're having a ball with them. All right, as our time has steadily run away from us, I want to go back to a little bit of of what we do with NASA. We always show that This Week in NASA, and lately we've been bringing in another program called Space to Ground. So we're going to go right now to what's going on in the space to ground world. Here we go.
Welcome to Space to Ground. I'm Sandra Jones. It was a busy traffic week on board Space Station with the Soyuz relocation and the undocking and return to Earth of a cargo resupply ship packed with science. Some of the highlights of the science returning to planet Earth on Dragon include investigations on muscle atrophy, drug metabolization, and possible breakthroughs for diseases such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and type 2 diabetes. The Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency investigation Anti-Atrophy tests the ability of biomaterials to inhibit muscle atrophy in microgravity. Researchers plan to compare two types of cultures returning to Earth, and results may lead to the production of pharmaceuticals to prevent muscle atrophy for astronauts in space and the elderly on Earth. Genes in Space 8 tests a technology for monitoring the expression of genes that control critical enzymes that may be responsible for pharmaceuticals not working as well in space. The returning samples will be further analyzed on Earth. Also returning in Dragon are samples from the ring shear drop experiment, which utilized a specially developed device that uses surface tension rather than a solid to hold liquids. Researchers use this device to create protein aggregations which may be related to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and type 2 diabetes. Results will be further analyzed by teams on the ground following the experiment's success in space. That's Space to Ground for this week. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
I don't have my volume on. Okay, she said I've been doing a lot of talking after that last show and nobody heard me. All right, so we're back. I hope you enjoyed it, and that silent part, I hope you can read lips well. But this is it for today. We've had a great day. We're glad that you joined us. Like I say, be sure and stay tuned for 6 o'clock with B. Michael Long, Shifting Paradigms. That's coming on at 6 o'clock in just a few minutes. Also, tune in tomorrow at 2 p.m., and you'll be able to pick up Senior Moments with Millie. That's a person I know personally. She's got a great show. Also, we have Truth Be Told at 6. 7 is Source of the Inkwell, and at 8 is the Lene Gray Show. So, 6, 7, and 8 tomorrow evening. We'll have some great shows, a lot of fun, a lot of interesting topics and conversation that you can talk to. You can also see some of our past shows. If you'll go to Facebook or YouTube and look at our playlist, you can pick up past shows that you may have missed. There was a great show on yesterday. It's on Facebook and YouTube now from Jessica Lynn Speaks Life. They were talking about domestic violence and women survivors of domestic violence, men and women. And it was a panel of 3 ladies on there. Great show. Go to our YouTube page. You can pick it up. It's Jessica Lynn Speaks Life. It's on Facebook and YouTube on KUAW. Jessica Lynn Speaks Life. It was a great show. Men, women, and all should listen to that show and learn a little bit about domestic violence and how it affects generations, how it affects women, how it affects families. So that's something that we want you to listen to and to check out. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with us. We're glad that you were here. This is George Walker from the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. Wanting to let you know you can still come and help us out as we do the rebuild and remodeling of our offices and studios for the radio and the Black Family Technology Awareness Association and our robotics rooms. So get in contact with us. We want to invite you down for that. We had a great time last week, but we're going to even have more fun down there painting and cleaning and organizing. So if you want to be a part of that, come on down. Tomorrow from noon to 4 o'clock, Wednesday noon to 4 o'clock, Thursday from 4 o'clock to 8 in the evening, and Saturday from noon to 4. So we need to see you, and we hope that you'll come down and join us. All right, that's it for now. 6 o'clock, Shifting Paradigms with B. Michael Long. You got 15 minutes, so go get you something to eat right quick, have your cold drink, and come right back to your whatever you're listening to it on, if it's your computer, your iPad, your laptop, whatever, and be back at 6 o'clock for Shifting Paradigm. This is George Walker for BFTAA and more saying goodbye.